Try this again. Watch the notifications not go out now. I don't know why my internet's been doing this lately, but I've about had it with this shit. Hey, I was live a minute ago and I don't know what happened. Like my chat stopped. It said it was unstable. It came back from being unstable. And my chat was just like, I kept asking if people could see me and there was nothing happening. So I restarted it. So hopefully people come back that was in here before, but who knows? You couldn't see me at all? That's wild. Yeah, it must have jacked up. It froze on you? It must have been getting ready to go out then. That's wild. Well, hopefully you can see me now. I was talking about everything I needed to talk about, and I just realized I'm like, I think I'm talking to myself. So I don't know if everybody's gonna come. I'm good now. That's good. Hold on. I'm back. The internet froze. I just love the fact that I got an Ethernet cable so this wouldn't happen, and it still happened. Yeah, the original one, that's what it was called because it was working, and then all of a sudden my internet went stupid. It wasn't working anymore, and I had to shut it off. So I restarted it, and here's where we are now. I was talking about a whole bunch of stuff, and I realized I'm like, I think I'm talking to myself. And then it was like, you have an unstable connection. And I was like, then it unstabled. And I was like, can anybody see me? And it was like crickets. So I just restarted the live. And now the people that were in here before probably aren't going to come back. So that's perfect. I love it. So, how's everybody doing? I was going on talking and Dirty Baja Blast. Is that the one with the cream in it or whatever? I was going to get one of those the other day when they do those like cream ones. I think that's what that is, isn't it? I almost got one, but like then I decided not to. Yeah. I think I want to try it though. Hey, I'm so agitated. I literally was talking and talking and talking, and then I was like, I think I'm talking to myself. My internet just said unstable connection, and then it said, and then it was fine, but like it was like frozen. So I'm not really sure what happened there, but it was annoying for sure. Like I had to go get an Ethernet cable to make sure that my Wi-Fi would stop doing that, and then it did it anyways. So, but yeah, I like, did anybody even hear what I was talking about? I was like talking for like 8.5 minutes, and I don't even know if anybody heard anything I was saying. I was going through my debacles that's been going on the past couple days, and I think I was talking to myself the entire time. Okay, the mortgage company, yeah. So basically, my insurance company didn't send my lender the bill, and so my insurance lapsed, and so my insurance lapsed, and my lender was like, well, after I told them, they're like, well, I'll call them and I'll tell them that we're going to pay the bill. So she calls them and was like, okay, well, we're just going to pay the bill, give her insurance back. You guys screwed up. You didn't send it to us. We want to pay it. Give her insurance back. And they were like, she hasn't had insurance for a month. We have to redo her entire thing. And I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. So they restarted the thing. And I had to wait like 2 to 3 days to find out if it was gonna go through. And so this morning, I get an email and they're like, "Oh, well, there's some things we need to talk to you about and we need pictures of your house." I'm like, "All right." So I call them. I was on the phone with them for an hour. And so they're going through, they're redoing it, whatever. And they're like, "Well, you were insured wrong the last time." And I'm like, "How does that even happen?" But okay, fine, whatever. And they're like, "So we have to reinsure it correctly." And I'm like, "All right, so go ahead." So they put in all the little figures, whatever. I was like, "All right, well, what is it going to be a year?" And it literally almost doubled. Literally almost doubled. And so I'm doing the math. And I'm like, "Okay, well, that's only going to be $70 extra a month, whatever. It's not that big of a deal." So I don't even care anymore. So I called my lender and I was asking about why my house payment went up a little bit. And they explained that my insurance had went up last year by like $100. And this is how house insurance works for anybody who does not know this. This is how my house insurance works anyway, which is fucking wild. So my house insurance went up by like $100. So it went up, my house payment went up $70 a month because my whole entire policy went up $100 a year because they have to figure it all out. And there has to be a 2-month cushion. All right. So I realize that the insurance quote that I'm trying to put through right now, my house payment went up $70 because my whole plan went up $100, right? So let's do the math of what was going to happen. So if it went up $70, my house payment was going to go up $800 with the new plan a month. My house payment was going to effectively double, almost double. And I'm like, so my house payment went up $70 because it was $100 more expensive. They quoted me $800 more than it was before. I'm like, so you're telling me my house payment's going to effectively double? And they're like, don't take that insurance plan. And I'm like, well, can you put me on like the forced shit, the stuff you don't want? And they're like, well, it's really bare bones. I'm like, if my house burns down, will they pay for it? They're like, yes, we're not going to pay for your possessions, but we'll pay for your house. I was like, that's fine enough for me. Whatever. Yes, your house payment, you pay into your escrow. So your escrow pays your insurance. Yes. So I'm doing the math and I'm like, she tells me how much it's going to be. It goes up by another $100. 100, not 800. And I'm like, well, obviously I have to take this. So I'm like, well, that means my house payment's going to go up another $70. And I'm like, well, what if I just call escrow and pay the $100? And they're like, you can do that. And I was like, all right. I said, so when I have $100, when I have 100 extra dollars, I'm going to call and put the $100 in escrow and maybe that'll help. My house insurance is still probably going to go up a little bit next year. My house payment's probably going to go up again next year. Anyway, so I had been on the phone with this house insurance for an hour trying to get this. They originally quoted me almost $3,100 a year. I was paying $1,800 a year and $1,854, and they were trying to quote me $3,100. And so by the time you have a 2-month cushion plus the amount of escrow or plus the amount of insurance that it goes up a month, it was literally going to go like my house payment was going to go up to like $800 more than it was supposed to be a month. And I'm like, I'm going to lose my house. And she was like, no, we got this. And I was like, all right. So she puts me on this garbage insurance. So my house is insured in case it blows up. And I was like, all right. So I messaged back the original company because I was on the phone with her for 45 minutes. I messaged back the other company and I'm like, I found cheaper insurance. Just rescind whatever. I don't need your insurance. I don't need $3,000. That's insane. So like my house isn't super insured, but it's insured enough that and apparently that's basically what I had anyway. And I didn't even realize it. The girl goes, when she went to redo my stuff, she's like, your house wasn't insured correctly. She's like, if you would have tried to make a claim, they could have fought it. What? They're like, "Yeah, it wasn't insured correctly." And I'm like, "All right." And she's like, "It was really bare bones." And I was like, so when the girl was like, "It's really bare bones," I was like, "Well, apparently that's what I had the last year. So like, just give me the bare bones stuff, I guess. I don't know what to tell you." So I'm insured as of today again. And this all happened because my insurance company did not send the bill to my lender. My lender, therefore, could not pay the bill. My insurance lapsed. It took a month, 2 months for them to tell me that my insurance lapsed. They sent me some weird thing in the mail that I didn't fucking understand and did not say it was expired. So, like I said, I got a hold of my lender. My lender's like, we didn't get a bill. And she was like, we got a bill from last year. Cause I was like, well, you paid it 7 days late last year. She's like, we didn't get a bill. And she's like, wait, she goes, we got a bill. She goes, but it has your address and our name. And I don't even know how I got it. I think I sent it to her. And she's like, they're not even sending us the bill. And then yeah, but you have to have it when you have a house payment. So I get a hold, so I told her, I was like, well, can you fix this? She's like, yeah. She's like, we'll just call and pay the bill. She's like, they screwed up. They didn't give us a bill. We'll call, we'll pay the bill. Everything will be fine. And I was like, well, they told me that they can't give me my insurance back because it's been longer than a month. So she calls and she's like, okay, can we pay the bill? And they're like, no, it's been longer than a month. She has to be reinstated. And I was like, you screwed up. You didn't send the bill. You didn't tell me anything. And now you want to reevaluate me and literally almost double how much money I'm supposed to pay a year because you fucked up on your end. And they're like, yeah. So I have insurance now. My house payment it's probably going to go up like $50 next year a month again, but I don't have a choice. So it is what it is. Yeah, no, my mortgage company's been the same the entire time. What happened was they just decided to combine our things. I guess they sent it as my housing company and then my address sent it to me and I think I sent it to them and I think that's how it got paid last year. So I was on the phone for 2 hours trying to get house insurance and I would have been fucked next year because I damn near took that one thinking it was only going to bring me up $70 a month and when I told her, she goes, "Do not take that." And I was like, "Why?" And I was like, "Well, why did my payment go up this year?" And she was like, "Well, because your insurance went up $100, so we had to charge you $70 extra a month." I was like, "Wait, what?" I was like, "The whole thing was $100 extra for the whole year. Why are you charging me $70 extra a month?" She's like, "We have to have a 2-month cushion, and then we have to forecast what it's going to be, and then we have to spread out the extra." And I was like, "So $100 extra a year is $70 extra a month." And I start doing the math. I'm like, they want to charge me $800 extra. I was like, that's going to go up like $800 a month. She's like, "Do not take that." She's like, "I will literally give you insurance. Do not take that." She's like, "It's sucky insurance, but don't take that." She's like, "You could call around." I was like, "I don't want to call around." I was like, "Just give me the crap you have. I don't even care. Just give it to me. I don't even care." Like I was literally I was like, I already started crying twice on the phone. I'm like, I cannot handle this anymore. Just give me your insurance. Because I was gonna have to find another company, go through this all again, probably numerous times, go through the 2 to 5 day waiting period, find out whether or not then they would want more information. I wouldn't be insured for like the next 25 days. As it was when I turned in everything they want after waiting like 4 or 5 days, I would have had to wait. They told me that they wouldn't be able to tell me until the 26th, and that was whether or not they were even going to go through with it. And then I would have had to start over and over and over. And the entire time I don't have insurance on my fucking house. And I was like, just give me your insurance. I don't even care. I was like, if my house burns down, am I insured? She's like, yes, just not your possessions. I was like, I can thrift shit. I don't care. I was like, just make sure my house is insured. She's like, your house is insured. I'm like, okay. She's like, it's insured for exactly what it's worth. I was like, okay. And then she told me what my house is worth. And apparently I've made a dent in my house. I've made a dent. I owe less than I thought I did. I still owe a ridiculous amount, but I've made a dent in it, which is nice. So they insured it for what it was worth. And yeah, dwelling only. And but I have insurance now. And my house payment should only go up, X amount. And she's like, well, we can try to find out what it's going to go up. And I was like, all right. And she goes, and I was like, wait a minute. Does that mean it's going to go up next month? I was like, because I don't have any extra money. She's like, well, you can just wing it. And she's like, we've already refigured you for the year. So it can just go up next year. And I was like, let's just do that. So, because they had already figured in that my insurance was wonky from last year. So I may be biting off more than I can chew next year, but regardless, I don't have a choice. I'm not going to find insurance any cheaper than this because my house is really strange. It is technically a manufactured / mobile home, but it's on a concrete foundation that I have certification for that says it is now officially a house because they put it on a permanent dwelling, which I could have probably fought the first insurance company. I probably could have fought them and been like, I have a convergence deed. It's an actual house. And I probably could have fought them. But at that point, I was so frustrated that I was like, I'm not doing this. And I mean, I could always change it later, but like, I'm not, yeah, exactly. I don't even feel like it's worth it at this point. For what? I mean, yeah, I'm one of these days I might have to have my insurance. I mean, that's a very big possibility that something could happen to my house and I want it insured. But like, they were trying to give me all this weird shit through the other company. And I'm like, I feel like you're being excessive. I'm like, that is a lot of stuff. They're like, well, you're covered for this. And I'm like, okay, what if I don't want any of that? They're like, well, it comes with it. And I'm like, but I feel like I don't need all of that. And they're like, okay, well, we can take off this. And I'm like, all right. So she starts taking stuff off. This was when it was at like $3,000. She goes, okay, well, we'll take off this. I was like, all right. She goes, okay, I brought you down to 2,900. I'm like, all right. So she goes, okay, well, we can take this off. I was like, all right. She was like, that takes you down to 2,700. I'm like, all right. What else can we take off? She's like, nothing. I'm like, it literally went up $900. What are you doing? And she was like, well, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, ma'am, I'm not meaning to like yell at you or be mean or anything, but I'm about to cry. And like, this is ridiculous because you guys screwed up. And she was very nice, very nice. She sat on the phone with me for an hour trying to figure this out. She was really nice. And I just got a hold of my lender, and my lender was like, we'll just give you our insurance, which I've had before because something like this happened before. So I had their insurance last time, and it's technically higher than some other places, but because of the type house I have, which is essentially, for lack of a better word, a double wide on a platform with a convergence deed that makes it a house, they look at it as it's a mobile home. And what's shitty is a mobile home depreciates. So why would you not make the house isn't worth blah 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 what it's worth, so why would you make the insurance so freaking high? And so she's like, a lot of people in your position just take our insurance because it's so hard to find somebody who's going to insure it and insure it correctly. So a lot of people in your position just take our insurance. And I was like, you're sure? She's like, yes. I was like, then just give me your insurance, dude. So yeah, because I'm not going to sit here and not have insurance for the next month. Because that's about where I'm at. Because by the time I wait and find out about the next one, like obviously I can't do the one for 3,000, which means that I'd be on the phone all day tomorrow. And then they'd be like, okay, well, send us this, do this, and we'll get back to you in 5 days. Okay, well, we're gonna need this, this, and this from you now. We'll give it back to you in a week. And I'm like, I don't have the mental acuity for this right now. So I was like, well, can you just, she's like, yeah, she's like, you're done. You have insurance right now. She's like, I've put it through. She goes, normally we wait until you get 2 notices before we force it on you. And I was like, can you just do it now? She's like, well, you're going to have to sign a letter saying that you're okay with being put on it. And I was like, fine. So I have the letter right here. I wrote it out and I was like, here, just take it. I don't even care. Yeah. And then they tell you no. And then I got to start all over again. That was my biggest thing. Like, what if I go through a whole company? I'm like, all right, cool, let's do it. They finally put me through a week and a half later. And they're like, no, we can't insure you. And then I have to start all over and all over and all over. And I'm just like, I can't do this. So I just had them put the forced place on because I was like, I'm not doing this. I've been on forced place before once other time. And then I was like, well, this is stupid. I'm gonna go get my own insurance. And then when I went and got my own insurance, they didn't insure it correctly, which then it lapsed because they didn't send the bill. And then when I called them back, they're like, yeah, it wasn't even insured correctly. So for a year, I've been paying on insurance that wasn't even accurate insurance. That's perfect. Thanks. I appreciate you. So that's where I'm at right now. And now I'm freaking out. So that's great. Because she's like, well, it doesn't do mold. I'm like, well, I don't have mold, so that's fine. But now I'm paranoid because I have all these fucking fish tanks. And if one of them explodes, I'm fucked. But I also don't have a choice. So that's kind of where I'm at. Because they make you have house insurance, and you should have house insurance because God forbid something happens, you want your house to be insured. But like I'm fucking up shit's creek. And so I mean, like, what I could do technically is I could technically change it later if I, get up whatever and call around 17,000 places and change it. But I feel like that would be a fucking headache because they're going to pay this one to then have to pay that one. And then I feel like something's going to get screwed up in the fray and then I'm going to get screwed again. And I don't think I'm going to find it any cheaper than what I'm getting anyway. It might be better, but like, I'm like, I can't, like, you can't, like, effectively almost double my house payment. I was like, that's not even remotely feasible. Like, I'm not paying that amount of money for what I own because that's ridiculous. Like, that would be, hold on, a year, which wouldn't even be going to my house, mind you, because instead of, it would be like, hold on, we'll say that would be like approximately $20,000 a year I'd be paying, and half of it would be for insurance. Like, that's insane to me. That's saying in 10 years in insurance, I would have paid off my house. That's where it's at. Like, in 10 years of me paying that insurance, I could have paid off my house. That's not worth it to me. No, you just went out to get a drink. No, you just went out to get a drink before I started this live. Lay down. So that's where I'm at. And so that was my frustrating day. And then the fish tank that my husband saved up for, we were supposed to pick it up Sunday. It flooded. We couldn't. The guy was supposed to bring it yesterday. And there was a whole debacle at the store and he couldn't get here. And then today he was off. So they're supposed to be dropping it off tomorrow. And I'm sitting here like, whatever, because his paycheck's going to be fucking wonky tomorrow, but too late now. This is what happens when you try to make your spouse happy all the time. So, but I think it'll be all right. I don't know what it's going to be. I just like, I feel like it's going to be wonky, but I don't know. I have money to like, I have money to pay it. Like, I'll be all right, but it's just frustrating. Well, I feel bad because, like I said, like I was saying in the other live before I got so rudely eaten and interrupted, the man works his tail off. And I just like to make sure he has the things that he wants because he works his tail off every day. He's doing 12-hour days, 6 days a week. And like, I feel like he deserves the things he wants. So I try to make sure that like at least once a year he gets something good. And he's been wanting this particular thing for, I'm not even kidding, like 10 years. And I was like, okay. So, yeah. And then in the meantime, like I said, I was in my other live. I was like, then a friend called me and she wants to leave her She wants to leave her boyfriend. And when she leaves, she wants to kind of do one of those when they're at work, skedaddle type things. And she couldn't skedaddle with a 55-gallon tank. She's like, I know you take care of your stuff. Can you take my fish tank? And I was like, really? So we went and took it. So that, I mean, it didn't cost us nothing. Everything, like, she literally just handed it to us. She's like, just take it, take the fish, take everything. And so we went and picked it up. It's in my dining room, and now it's wobbly. So now we got to reinforce it Friday. I am gonna strangle you. You just went out there and got a drink like 10 minutes ago. Go. You're not coming back. Bye. She only does this at night. I don't understand. It's only when I get on lives. I don't know if just being in here makes her antsy or what, but every time I get on a live, she's like, I need 17,000 drinks. She doesn't do it any other time, just when I'm on live. So, yeah. This is what happens. Somebody calls me and asks me to take in their animals. This is what happens every freaking time. That's how I got a ferret. That's how I got a dog. That's how I got 2 other dogs. That's how I got another dog. That's how I got a rabbit. That's how I got turtles. Because people call me and they're like, can you take... What am I supposed to say? No. Yes. But I don't. Because I'm an idiot. And then people are like, why do you have all these animals? You can't afford them. Because I'm an idiot. That's why. Essentially, because I'm an idiot who can't say no. That's what it boils down to. 1,000%. Because I feel bad. Oh, that's why I got stuck with guinea pigs, too. Because people are like, oh, I can't do this. I can't do that. I had one guy be like, if you don't come and get these turtles, I'm going to put them in a crick. So I got the turtles. Spent $150 putting them into a new house just to give them away. Because I didn't want them. I never wanted them to begin with, but I didn't want them in a crick. So I had to, like, redo their entire tank, and then I gave it away. My heart is too big, is the problem. I don't want to see animals get thrown away, discarded, whatever. So then I take them in. I spend the money on them, and then it blows up in my face, essentially. It sucks. I wish I knew how to say no to people, but I don't. I've never been good at saying no to, like, things. But I told my husband today, I was like, there's not another fish tank coming in this house. He's like, no, there's not another fish tank coming in this house. It's not happening. I'm done. I'm 1,000% done. There's not another fish tank coming in this fucking house. I'm done. I've had it. Like, I cannot do this anymore. So I made him promise me no more. Because I can't. I'm like, I'm done. I'm fished. I don't even like fish. I do not even like fish. I do not even like this. I do not like fish. It's not that they're bad. Whatever. Having a fish tank, cool. Having all these fish tanks, not cool. Don't want them. But he loves fish. And what am I supposed to do? Say no? It's his house. He does the job. He does this, whatever. I'm not going to tell him no, even though I don't want them. Now she's crying at the door. She wants back in. Hey, Marie. So I guess you guys can say whatever you want about me, that I run myself into the ground and have animals I can't afford because I don't know how to say no, because I care too much about people and animals. I guess there could be worse things. There could be worse things. Well, when she gave us the fish tank, luckily it was completely done. Like, we didn't need anything for it. He wants to replace the filter at later, but it didn't cost us anything. And that's why I did it, because it wasn't going to cost us anything. She needed it out. I felt bad. It wasn't going to cost us anything. And I had one more spot left for a tank. So if it had cost us anything, I would have told her no. But she needed it out. She said, you can just come get it. It's free. Just, can you get it out of my house? And I was like, I'll be there tonight. So there's worse things in life to be than sympathetic and empathetic. But unfortunately, both of those things end up, costing money in the long run, and then, you're miserable anyway. But hey, like I said before with our animals, like we don't go out, we don't do anything, we don't go to the bars, we don't spend copious amounts on alcohol, we don't go out like to the movies, but like 3 times a year. So this is what we do. We sit at home with our animals and we play cards. I mean, once you have the animals set up, like my lizards cost next to nothing. My snake costs next to nothing. My hermit crabs cost next to nothing. Yes, the setup in the beginning can get whatever, but yeah, you can sit out there for a minute now. You want it out and you can sit there for a minute. Because as soon as I let her in, she can walk back out again. No, you can sit out there for a minute now. Yeah, you can stare at me. I will come get you in a minute. That's what you wanted. You wanted out. So, but yeah, I mean, a lot of the animals don't even cost that much to maintain. The fish aren't bad. I mean, the fish need fish food. They're set up. They're set up. They just need fish food. It's really not that bad in the long run. I mean, the dogs and the goats cost the most. And the goats don't even cost that much really, to be honest. I mean, when you really break it down, they don't even cost that much. It's the dogs, which again, I did not want 3 or 4 of them. 3 of them we took because again, they needed homes. One of them we took because she jumped in the car because somebody abandoned her. And I just sent Green Turtle all the different. I showed her all the different tank setups and whatever. Um, it's just frustrating. I don't know how to say no, and I need to learn how to say no. I've said this before. I said this last year after I ended up acquiring. I don't remember what it was I even acquired at that moment, but I was like, I've got to start saying no to people. And they all say the same thing. Well, you have all these animals and you take really good care of them, and I just really thought that you could take this because I know that you take good care of your animals. That's how I got Leia. Miss Squeaky Squeaks at the door. Same thing. He was like, I have this dog, and I know that you take care of your dog, and I was just hoping you could take the. That's what that's how I got a guinea pig. So I got that's how I got the ferret. So I got the dog. Is that you take really good care of your animals? Can you I just the fish tank today. The fish tank. She's like, I had some people interested, but I just really want them to go to good home, and I know that you take care of your animals. And I'm like, she had other people wanting the fish. She had them. She had other people wanting to take the fish. I'm like, why didn't you let them other people take the fish? I don't need another fish. I don't. I really, really don't. Where did my hermit crab go? What the fuck? Get in here, and you're not coming out. Get your butt in here, and you're not going out again. I hope you drink your weight because I'm done. Where did you go? Hold on a minute. There he is. He's back there. Okay. I have one hermit crab in this tank that's not hibernating, and I just had to go find him because I couldn't see him. I don't know how people get animals want to bail on them either, but sometimes I want to bail. Not even kidding. Sometimes I want to bail. Like, it just gets to be hard. Like, it's hard because like I have one dog that makes a lot of noise. And like it's really hard because like I'm really sensitive with sound, and the one dog she doesn't stop like all day. She makes this weird squeaky noise. Like she'll bark, but like whenever she wants attention or anything, or she just looks at you, she makes this weird squeaky scream, and it just goes straight through me. And I'm like, this is so much, dude. So much. So, I mean, like, I love my animals, I do, and they're my responsibility. And then people are like, well, if you have so many animals and you don't have any money. I'm like, what do you want me to do? Get rid of them because I don't have money? Would you do that to your kid? Like, you lose your job and you're like, hey, Junior, sorry, you got to go to foster care because I can't afford you. It's kind of the same thing. Like, as long as my animals are being cared for, that's all that fucking matters. Like, if I got to eat ramen, I'll do it. That's just, they're my responsibility, and that's the way it goes. You got to do what you got to do. I'm fucking Captain Save-A-Ho, and I want to save everything. And it bites me in my ass. But, I mean, we're all right now. We're all right. We may not be all right in a week or 5 weeks or whatever because shit happens, but it's just frustrating. It's very frustrating. Good night, Audra. Right. Like, literally, that's how I got the birds. I went into a pet store and I saw these birds in a small cage, and I'm like, they were cheap. And I was like, yeah, I need to just not leave my house. I need to not leave my house and shut off my phone. So that's about where I'm at. I told my husband, I was like, nothing else. We're done. Done, donezo. We're done. He's like, that somebody will call. I'm like, I don't care. We're done. I'm done. No, we're done. I can't keep saying yes to people. And I'm not blaming her at all. Like, I could have told her no. I could have, but I don't know how to say no. So that's where we are there, I guess. So there's a lot worse things people can hate me for. Trying to give animals a good life when I hear that they're going to be abandoned. I mean, if you want to put me down for that, put me down for that, I guess. There's a lot worse things I could be. So and I'm not going to feel bad for letting my husband have something he's wanted for like 10 years. Even if it's going to be, I don't even think, it was his money. It was his money. And yeah, I've told you guys that yes, we do have our own little savings that we do, which, when there's an issue with the house or whatever, we have to cough up our own money. But this was his money, and I'm not gonna try to take that from him. This is what he wanted to do, and I'm gonna back him, on it, and just hope it doesn't bite us in the ass later, I guess. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that. Just don't be like me and be Captain Save-A-Ho and want to save everything, because then you end up like I am right now. It's not bad. It's a nice. I mean, the tank looks nice. My husband put up pictures of it on his TikTok. It still needs to clear up. Tanks are always really cloudy when you first do them because of the rocks. It's starting to clear up real nice. So I mean, it's a good tank. I want to reinforce it because it's a little wobbly and it's making me paranoid, which we're doing on Friday. So, I can't say a whole lot. Like I said, it didn't cost us anything. She literally just told us to come get it, and so it's not like we're out anything. It's another tank taking up room. Which that was like the last place we had in the house. I'm like, there's literally no more room. It's in our dining room. It's on a wall in our but our dining room doesn't really have anything in it because we don't use it. So I was like, well, at least then it'll have some type of furniture. Like, it didn't have furniture before. So now it has furniture. It looks nice. It didn't cost us anything. So, like, can I really complain? Probably not. So it didn't take very long to set up, though, either, luckily. He got it set up in like an hour. Yeah, when Ember lived here, her friends always came here. I don't know. I have this like I said, I have a Captain Save a Hoe complex. I just want to save everything and give everything, a safe place. And there's worse things I could be. It's just, so help me. She's like, I have no bed. The beds are in the dryer. Can you go get me a bed? Come here. You want me to hold you? Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come on. I know there's no bed in here. They're in the dryer. Come here. Come here. Yeah. Come here. There's no beds. The beds are in the dryer. I didn't get the beds out. I put the boys in the room with my husband. Pepper's over in a chair. So I didn't get the beds out of the dryer yet. I was cleaning the beds. I washed them up and they're in the dryer. And I was like, well, I put the boys in with my husband. And I was like, well, there's no beds in there, whatever. And I forgot she needs a bed. And I got on live. So I could just go get her a bed out of the dryer, which I'll probably do here shortly because I'm not going to hold her forever. So I'll have to go pull all the beds out. Even if I go pull one of them out, I could pull her favorite one out. I could see people bitching if we decided to pay for 2 fish tanks, being like, "What is wrong with you?" But this one didn't cost us, anything, and we were helping my friend. So, and the one he's getting tomorrow, we actually got a really good deal on. So I don't feel too bad. We got a good deal on it. So it could be worse, I guess. Ask why we're getting another one because it's a salt tank. It's not one of these. It's a salt tank. So we got a good deal. It didn't cost half as much as a lot of salt tanks do. So because he got a smaller tank. It's like a 40. No, yeah. So it wasn't super bad. And we're even doing it like in a really good way where you get the living rock and the living sand so that it's it's a lot more like the real environment. And even though we're doing it like the really, really good, there's a lot of different ways to start off a saltwater tank. You can get dry rock, you can get living rock, you can put no rock, you can whatever. And we're doing it the best way you can. And we got a good deal. So I can't really say anything. But yeah, it does freak me out when you think about like things that could happen and whatnot. Like, people talk about that, you're like one medical bill away from being screwed. And that's like everybody in America. Like you're like one paycheck from being screwed. A lot of people. A lot of people can fall back on credit cards. We can't. A lot of people can fall back on loans. We can't. So yeah, I mean, of course, it always gets in the back of your head and stuff. But if you just live your whole life in what if, which I do, my husband's like, you got to stop what ifing all the time. I'm like, I wish you would what if sometimes. But if you live in what if, then you're never really going to live because if you're just sitting there thinking, this could happen, that could happen, this could happen, that could happen, you're never going to do anything and you're just going to live life miserable. So that's unfortunate. I guess I'm just happy that he's finally getting to do what he wants to do. I don't really I just exist. I don't really have stuff that I want or whatever. Everything that I want's stupid and easy. If I want something, it's just stupid and easy stuff. So I got the birds a really nice cage. I got a really good deal on it. I'm hoping it's as big as, I mean, like I did the measurements and it should be a pretty large cage. And I probably got the best deal that I could get on a cage. So I feel pretty good. I looked all over the place and I feel like I definitely got my money's worth, at least from what I can see. I mean, once it's up, I might change my mind, but I feel like I did good for the size and what I paid for it. So, I mean, cages can get stupid expensive, stupid expensive. You know, you can look at $300 to $700 for a freaking cage, and I didn't pay a third of that. So, I mean, I feel pretty good on that aspect because I listened to the pet store, and the pet store was like, "Oh yeah, you can do this. You know, they just need a lot of walking space. You know, you don't need, you need a cage that's more vertical than more horizontal than vertical." She's like, "For the type birds they are, they need more walking space than they do flying space." And I got them home and they've been all right, but I'm like, I don't feel like this is ideal. So I got them a flight cage to where it's tall and wide. And I feel like they'll be happier in it. Like they're okay in what they're in, but they're okay. They're, that they're surviving, but they're not thriving type deal. And I don't like that. So I want to make sure that, they got the best space available that I can give them. And I went and bought them a bunch of toys and they don't even like them. I bought this really nice big pack of toys and they have zero interest in them. I'm hoping that when I put them in the new cage and kind of hang them all over, that they'll pay attention to them more. But I think they're the type of birds that don't need toys. But I feel bad not having toys available, if that makes sense. Because I'd rather have toys available that they're not playing with than to not have toys and then want toys. So I got a really good deal on some toys. Like, I went and priced the stuff individually and it should have cost like $75 for the toys that I got, and I got them all for like 15 bucks. I got like 6 toys for 15 bucks, and individually they should have been about 75. So, I'd rather give them toys that they're not playing with, I guess. So, but I mean, you got to try things, I guess. I got them nesting material for their little eggs. They wanted the notebook paper. I put in notebook paper. I literally shredded up notebook paper and put it in there. They used the shredded notebook paper, and I bought them actual bona fide nesting material, and they didn't even touch it. They don't even care about it. They don't want to use it. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, I am giving you the best stuff that you can have, and you're not even using it. And then like tomorrow, I got these like pre-made nests, and I don't even know. Like, part of me like wants to send them back. I don't know, but they're gonna keep laying eggs. Hopefully, they don't hatch. What I'm gonna probably have to do is if these eggs hatch, when she does lay an egg next time, I'm probably gonna swap it for something false because I'm not gonna be a fucking pigeon breeder. Like, I didn't sign up for this. Unless my pet store can freaking buy the birds off of me or let me give them to them or something, because I'm not gonna sit here and, get 2 new birds every 6 months. I will lose my noodle. That could be why somebody turned them back in for all I know. Because they were just breeding too much. I have no idea. But like, if these eggs hatch, I'll keep these 2. There's enough room in that cage for all 4 of them. And then I'm gonna have to just like, nope. I'll have to switch out the eggs or something because I can't. I can't. Like that's ridiculous. I'm not. Mm-mm. Yes, I have pigeons. They're fancy pigeons. Like they're fancy. They're not like in the street, caught them and brought them home pigeons. They're fancy. Okay, I don't know what you want from me. I need to get comfortable too. I don't know what you want from me. Um, they're fancy, domesticated pigeons. Um, I got a great deal on them. Do you guys love how I keep saying I got a great deal on stuff? Because I did. These birds, if you were to buy them in like in underneath normal circumstances, um, they run between 75 and $475 a piece. And I got them for a ridiculous price. I got them for cheaper than a parakeet. I think that's why I didn't feel bad buying them. I got them for cheaper than a parakeet. The parakeets cost like 10 or $20 more than what these did. So, I mean, both of them together didn't even cost $75. Not even close. They were cheap. And I was like, all right, because I was looking at I was like, you know what, I kind of want to get like a little bird. And I went in to look at the little birds, and little birds were like $40. And I was like, all right, I could do like a $40 bird. And then I saw these guys, and to both of them together wasn't even $40. And I was like, all right, well, I'll do it because it was going to cost me more to get one parakeet than it was these guys. But they're not socialized. Whoever had them stuck them in a cage and did nothing with them because if you put your hand in there, they get really skittish. So the only upside to having the babies is I can more hand raise them to where they're not terrified of people. They're not mean. They're not mean at all. They're just really skittish. And they just don't want to be around people. If you put your hand in the cage, they'll flutter over to the other side. They don't want to be around. They're very they're just skittish. You get a cockatiel growing up. I never had a cockatiel. I had finches, I had a canary, and I had a parakeet. And I'm not a bird fan. I don't know why all of a sudden I wanted a bird. I'm weird. I have no idea. I'm not a bird fan. There's only certain birds I can deal with. I was looking into getting a finch because I can deal with finches. They don't make shrill, high pitched noises. So I was looking at a finch, but the finch, like I said, the finch was more money than the two of these combined. So I was like, well, um, these guys make a they kind of go, so they're not, and they don't make a lot of noise. Like when they do, like they when you first turn their light off at night, they make some noise. Um, they will make noise a little bit on and off, but barely any. Like they're very, very, very quiet birds. Very quiet. And then when they do, it's like it's a calming noise. It's not a um high pitched noise. So I guess it's probably I guess it was probably the best bird case scenario I could have got because a lot of birds really bother me with their noises. That's why I was going to look for a finch because they just go ee ee, and I was like, I can handle that. I've had finches before, but and turns out didn't know this. Fun fact: pigeons mate for life. And when I went in there, there was two, and I was like, well, I can't just buy one and leave one there. I'd feel awful. Well, I get them home and I'm, looking into fucking pigeons because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. You don't know. I mean, I'm not going to research pigeons or whatever before I get them because I didn't even know they were there. And, so I came home and I was doing a crash course on pigeons and they're like, oh yeah, they mate for life. I'm like, well, thank God I got both of them, I guess, because I would have broke up their little love bond and like they probably would have died. Yeah. They're like, they're like swans or whatever. They mate for life. So once they find their partner, they're done. And they're really good together. Like they don't there was one time it looked like they were fighting. But I think the one's foot was stuck. She was they were holding on to the branch stupid. And I went over there to try to fix it. And by the time I got over there it was fine. But like with the eggs, pigeons, it's weird because what they'll do is the dad will lay on the egg from 10 in the morning. Like you can look this up. Dads will take the shift from like 10 in the morning till something o'clock at night. And then the moms will start their shift and they get off their shift at 10 in the morning. And they that's what they do. They get off the egg long enough for to eat because they like to eat together, and then it's right back to the egg. Like that egg has barely ever not been sat on. It's almost always got a bird on it, and they've only really gotten off the egg to eat. The one which I don't understand, I think it's the girl. Well, I think they both do it to be honest. But they uh they have places. I have a nice big expensive branch that they could be sitting on. And instead, one will sit on the egg and the other will sit in the food bowl. Yeah. They'll sit in the food bowl. I have this nice big branch and sometimes they'll sit on it. But a lot of the times I look over and the one is just sitting in the food bowl. And they eat a lot. They eat a lot. Like I'm gonna have to scale back because they don't stop eating. They will eat and eat and eat and eat and eat. And at first I thought that I was like, oh, I'm not feeding them enough. I'm not feeding them enough. And then I realized how much food I was going through. And I realized that they literally will just eat until they explode essentially. So I had to start scaling back their food because I'm like, these guys are basically going to roll themselves out through this cage at one point. And I give them a pretty expansive diet. They love their pigeon and dove food. Like I wouldn't want to change it. It's not super expensive and you get a nice big bag and I cut it with chicken feed. Chicken scratch, not chicken feed. It's got like the shells and they sound like guinea pigs. Um chicken scratch. It's got all sorts of good, chicken bird stuff in it. It's like wild bird feed kind of. And it's got like sunflower seeds and corn and grain and whatever. So I take the pigeon and dove food, I cut it with chicken scratch, and then on top of that, I give them blueberry coated sunflower seeds and these bird greens, and they love the bird greens. Like that is their favorite thing. They will eat the bird greens before they eat their food. And then because they're essentially like wild birds, you know how you get those in your bird feeders where you get like the blocks of all the food, like the suets, and you can get those bells of food. I bought one of those big bells. It's like this big, and it's going to go in their cage. It's basically the same. It's got a lot of the same stuff. It's got the sunflower seeds and a lot of the same things as the chicken scratch. And that way they can pick at that. You get a big, huge bell. It's like this big for like $3. So if they like that, I'm gonna set that in their cage and see, that way they can pick at that, have something to do. But they get a pretty diverse diet, but they just eat and eat and eat and eat. So I'm gonna have to scale back their food a little bit. I have a problem with overfeeding my animals because I want them to be happy, which is why all my dogs are fat, which is not good. But I just want them to be happy, and they all seem to be happy when they're eating. So, unfortunately, that's a problem I have because I always just want everybody to be happy. So I overfeed them essentially, which is better than underfeeding them. Yes, I'm drinking a Coke. My husband bought it for me. Yeah, the automated feeders are cool. I don't have them because the dogs. They get their dinner and whatnot. But yeah, I mean overall the birds are doing good. I knew they needed a bigger flight cage because especially the girl, she'll like try to stretch her wings. Like she'll try to she wants to try to fly, and but she does it really politely. She'll just kind of flap her wings like I need to stretch, and she'll flap her wings a little bit. And I was like, yeah, this isn't gonna work. So I got the nice big cage that they can't go in yet. It's sitting out on my porch in a box. And we were going to put it together tonight, but then, the fish thing happened. So I'm thinking we're going to put it together maybe Saturday night, Friday night, Saturday night. Tomorrow we have the tank if it gets here. And then we'll put it together like Friday or Saturday. And then we're supposed to go Sunday and go pick up another chair. We got a recliner from his mom 2 hours away. And we brought it home. And then she told us we could come get the other recliner because they went recliner shopping. So she told us we could come get the other chair. So we're probably going down there Sunday. And yeah. You're going to be having a baby in a week? Jesus. So I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure where I'm going to get it. But I have my next 2 tattoos planned out. I'm getting a really great deal on them. My friend's a tattooist. She does most of my tattoos. It's the one I got the fish tank from. Anyway,